Hello everyone, I'm Greg Weaver. Welcome to The Audio Analyst. Today, we will make virtual visits to 3 more rooms from High End Munich 2024, starting with the large corner room suite occupied by Cyprus's Aries Cerat on Atrium 4.1 in E111. As I entered this room and was first overwhelmed at both the aesthetic and scale of the system in this large open space, I was then finally honored to meet the founder and designer of the Aries Cerat brand, Stavros Danos. Though I have been following rather loosely the efforts of this company that first showed up in 2010 for some reason, I have never had the opportunity to meet the man. This system was almost entirely single-branded, save for the Phono cartridge and the digital music server streamer. Starting with the analog front end, we had the introduction of the large and striking-looking Aries Cerat Pandora Turntable, isolated by both suspension bands and magnets, which was fitted with 2 of their prototype 3D printed titanium Pandora Ti arms, resting on its dedicated stand. While I'm not sure if both arms were fitted with the same cartridge, while I was there, what I heard was the Japan-manufactured top-wing Suzaku red Sparrow, and the Phono stage was the 4-chassis Aries Cerat Zephyrus. Files were served using the new innovative Holland-built Taiko Audio Olympus music server, which fed either the Aries Cerat Ithaca minor DAC or alternatively a prototype of the Aries Cerat Homerus DAC. I'm not sure which one was in primary use during my visit, as I listened primarily to vinyl on the Pandora rig. Next up, the Aries Cerat Ianus Series Ageto line stage, a dual chassis unit using their 3rd generation of inverted triode technology. Typically, inverted vacuum tube operation is managed by swapping the functions of the grid and plate of a regular vacuum tube, resulting in its inverted operation. Now, in this mode, the signal is applied to a negatively based plate acting as the grid, and the amplifier signal is taken from the positively biased grid acting as the plate. There are 2 primary benefits to this manner of operation. The first is the plate resistance is substantially lower, which significantly aids in driving low impedance loads, and the input capacitance is also considerably diminished. As the voltage gain is much lower than unity, the device still develops power gain, but the input impedance is quite high, while the output impedance is very low. Next, a pair of the Aries Cerat Quintessence monos, also Ianus series, were used to drive this enormous and visually arresting loudspeaker package, consisting of the new Aries Cerat Contendo 2, a 4-way horn system, augmented with an optional dual stack of bass horns. Finally, the connectivity was a very unique mixture of select DIY cables, as well as cables from Poland's Leboga and Southwest Germany's Akustik products. As taken as I have been with the Aries Cerat experience in some of their demos over the past decade, this one was among the most enchanting and magical listens yet. Here I was completely entranced with this exotic system's remarkable ability to express nuanced inflection of instrumental voicing and texture, and it simply excelled at presenting the stark immediacy of so many fine tracks, like Voodoo from the 1986 album of the same name by the Sonny Clark Memorial Quartet. The system's dynamic fluency was simply stellar, not only in its capability to convey the punch, impact, and scaling representative of a live event, but especially in its ability to express microdynamic articulation. This system was unbelievably emotionally expressive and engaging, with a disarming capability to portray such sublime subtleties of the expression and individuality of sounds, like percussion strikes. Its musical power seemed effortless, with tremendous extension at both extremes and amazingly, concisely pitch-defined bass. This system was clearly among the best, if not arguably the very best system, I heard during this visit to Munich. Next, we'll visit the True Life Audio, Kronos, and Gershman Acoustics room, also on Atrium 4.1 in F120. This system was full of familiar components, starting with the world premiere of Montreal, Canada's Kronos Perpetual Turntable, a world-class turntable I first brought to your attention, along with the finest phono stage I've ever heard, the Kronos Discovery Phono preamplifier, with episode 170, introducing the Kronos Audio Perpetual Turntable and Discovery Phono stage in mid-April of this year. The Perpetual was powered by the Kronos Perpetual supercapacitor power supply. The spectacular Kronos Perpetual Turntable was fitted with the Kronos Discovery Resonance Suppression Tone Arm, my current reference. The cartridge was something special, one that had started its life as a MySonic Lab Eminent EX, but had seen some cantilever, damper, and coil modifications at the hands of Aristomenos Georgianos, the principal of True Life Audio, maker of the electronics used in this room. The phono stage here was the Chrono reference. The server streamer was the new Antipodes Aladra from New Zealand, and the DAC was the 3-chassis MSB Cascade from Silicon Valley, California, a cost-no-object, fully balanced ladder DAC, which separates functions into 3 discrete chassis to maintain the highest possible signal purity. The line stage was the 2-chassis, tube-based True Life Audio SSP-1, which handed off to a pair of the hybrid-powered True Life Audio SSA 300 mono amplifiers. The SSP-1 is tube rectified using an NOS GZ32 and uses a pure Class A transformer-coupled single-ended circuit built around 2 NOS 6J5 tubes, while the SSP-300s, also tube rectified, features an NOS 6J5 based single-ended input stage to drive an ultralinear solid-state current amplifier using bipolar transistors. True Life Audio, which also collaborates with Kronos to produce both the Kronos Reference and Discovery tubed phono stages, are built in Athens, Greece, and both the SSP-1 and a pair of SSA 300s are my current reference. Speakers here were the 2-piece Gershman Acoustics 30th Anniversary Edition of the Black Swan loudspeakers, the new flagship for this Canadian speaker manufacturer. The Black Swan is somewhat unique in its design, incorporating 2 entirely separate enclosures. Each woofer enclosure is home to a 12-inch peerless driver and rests on Isoacoustics isolation feed, with an A-shaped enclosure housing a ScanSpeak 6-inch mid-range and 1-inch tweeter suspended above it. The A-shaped cabinet straddles the woofer cabinet, also resting on Isoacoustics footers, and the Black Swan boasts a frequency response of 18 Hz to 24 kHz. A full loom of Cardis cables rounded out this system. There is something undeniable about the synergistic relationship with these partners, but the utterly relaxed and serene presentation, combined with its exemplary imaging and staging, and its broadband extension and coherence, made for another exceptional experience with these exhibitors. Finally this week, we drop in on Soulution, Gauder Acoustics, and Critical Mass Systems, also on Atrium 4.1 in E180. This was my second opportunity in as many months to say hello to Cyril Hammer, one of Soulution's parent company's 2 managing directors, and to experience the splendor of the new Soulution 7 series of products. The first was during last April's Expona in Schaumburg, Illinois. But this new series from Switzerland's Soulution represents fresh designs from the ground up and was developed to outperform their highly praised predecessors by realizing an even higher level of resolution in an attempt to obtain even more lifelike musicality. By employing a new and innovative amplifier topology, they pushed the frequency bandwidth limit to beyond 2 MHz, while reducing distortion and noise to benchmark setting low levels. The result combines an ability to deliver more heft, authority, and control in the bass, while refining and resolving the smallest of details, delivering even greater delicacy. LP transcription here was by the Swiss De Beer Topaz turntable, which incorporates all of the unique technologies found in their Sapphire model, in a larger chassis with adjustable armboard mounting blocks to allow support of 2 tone arms. Taking advantage of that capability, the Topaz was using a pair of the De Beer Onyx tone arms. While I'm sorry to say I have no details on the cartridge or cartridges in play, the phono stage used was the new Soulution 755. A New Zealand-built Antipodes Kaila 50 server streamer was sharing files with the Soulution 760 DAC. The Soulution 757 de-emphasis line stage shared the stage with the Soulution 727 line stage, while the giant Soulution 717 stereo amplifier can deliver 150 watts into 8 ohms, 300 into 4, and 600 into 2. And because it may be configured as either a stereo amplifier, a dual mono amplifier, or a bridged mono amplifier, it will replace both the previous 701 mono and 711 stereo amplifiers. Loudspeakers were the new flagship Dark 250 from Germany's Gauder Acoustics, and all components rested on the extraordinarily effective and sexy-looking Critical Mass Systems Maxim Ultra racks and amplifier stands. While I've heard a fairly wide variety of Gauder Acoustics loudspeakers, especially over the past 6 or 7 years, I was not prepared for what this new flagship Dark 250, when driven by this new 7 series of electronics, was able to deliver. With its symmetrical 4-way crossover, it features a 3/4 inch pure diamond tweeter, a 2-inch pure diamond upper mid-range, a 7-inch black ceramic lower mid-range, that handoff to a pair of 9-inch black back-coated aluminum woofers. This system was simply intoxicating. I'm happy to share with you that this new lineup from Soulution, combined with this new Gauder acoustic flagship loudspeaker, was so subtly expressive, so transparent to the sources, yet so detailed and defined without any tendency to be edgy, sharp, or etched. Its vibrance was punctuated with its remarkable resolution. Its tonal fidelity was underscored with its authentic texture, vivid color, and a smooth, relaxed naturalness that made for an amazingly engaging presentation. While visiting with Cyril in Schaumburg last April, he and I discussed my auditioning some of the newer products here, and I hope that at some point I may get the opportunity to examine some of the latest products, perhaps starting with the 4 Series, here in my music room. As usual, all known system details, brands, models, and pricing are outlined in today's description section. This will be my final installment from High End Munich 2024. I'm sorry that I could not present more in-room recordings, but while I had plenty of appointments set before the opening hours of the show, all 4 days, to be able to capture recordings without having to deal with the calamity of the massive crowds, as a press member, I was forbidden on the show floor before its 10 a.m. opening time. This makes absolutely no sense to me, as it is my role as a journalist to provide coverage of the event. Yet this nonsensical restriction prevented me from doing my job as effectively and completely as I could have otherwise. Next year, I intend to take advantage of the offer from one of the several very kind manufacturers who have volunteered to add me to their list of exhibitors so that I may have an exhibitor show badge that will allow me early access to rooms before the 10 a.m. show opening to provide such coverage. As always, thank you for taking the time to drop by today. Further information on supporting the channel may be found in today's description section or at my website, theaudioanalyst.com. Please stay safe and keep the music playing. Till next time, cheers.